Talk of Champions Short Sessions.
Long story short.
Welcome in to Talk of Champions Short Sessions. I'm your host, Zach Berry. As you can see by the hoodie and the hat, we are braving the elements here in Nashville, not having to deal with it. Mr. Andy Staples of On3. Andy, good afternoon. Very jealous of what you've got going on in Florida right now.
Yeah, 50 degrees and sunny. We consider this very cold, but no wintry mixes for us.
Yeah. Took the kids out earlier and I looked at my watch and I said, oh, it's only 20 right now. So we're doing better. One thing that is not cold, that is not frozen, is college football right now.
Golly.
I mean, just turned on its head with Nick Saban. Things moved rather quickly, I thought. I mean, for a coaching search for such a marquee blue blood program, I thought Alabama handled it pretty well. What'd you think?
The hire, I thought they handled great. I thought, of the people I thought realistically would come, because like Sark, I think when you are at Texas and all of a sudden Alabama doesn't have Nick Saban anymore, you would want to stay at Texas. That's an advantageous thing for you, not go try to start over somewhere else. And Mike Norvell, I thought would have been a good hire. He stays at Florida State. We don't know if he got offered the job, but he certainly got a nice raise. He's in the $10 million a year club. So I wouldn't leave if somebody wanted to pay me that for the lower pressure of the two jobs, by the way. And then Kalen DeBoer, who's won everywhere he's been. Like, I feel like that's a good hire. I know you get the people who are upset because he's not from the Southeast, but I watched Urban Meyer come to Florida, not having any ties to the region, and dominate. And Nick Saban did the same thing when he got to LSU. Yeah. So it's not like you can't hire. And I do think you look at the guys that Kalen DeBoer is hiring. Like, I thought Kane Womack was a great hire. Former Ole Miss GA Kane Womack. Hugh Freeze called him Moneyball back in the day when he was at Ole Miss.
Look at that. Full circle.
Yeah. So, but I also think for Kane, it's a good move because Kane was doing great at South Alabama. But if Kane wants to be an SEC head coach, which I would imagine is what he ultimately desires to be, like, to do that, the path is faster from being the DC at Alabama than it is from being the head coach at South Alabama. So I think that's a good hire, but you're seeing as we're recording this, and who knows what else will happen in the next few hours, but Caleb Downs and Caden Proctor have just said that they would like to enter the transfer portal. We haven't officially seen them in the portal yet. And I don't know if this is a negotiating ploy, but if I were them, I'd do the same thing. They're number one players at their position in the whole country as recruits, who started immediately to Alabama, who played well. Like, Downs played well immediately. Proctor got better as the season went on. I would absolutely see what my market value is right now. Nothing wrong with that. And so they may come back to Alabama, but what's interesting to me, and I'm curious to hear this from your point of view, I feel like everybody else in the SEC looks at this like, Saban's gone. Now there's a chance. Now, perhaps Kirby Smart's the same thing in a different wrapper. But I do feel like if you are Ole Miss, if you're Texas, if you're LSU, if you're Oklahoma, if you're Texas A&M, you're looking at this and going, this is an opportunity for us because maybe Kalen DeBoer is good, but the odds say he won't be as good.
Yeah, I agree with you. I was talking with some guys this morning where it almost seems as if Kirby Smart's just going to step up to the, top tier on the podium now as top dog in the SEC. Georgia was already there. Alabama beat them in the SEC championship game, but Georgia's not going anywhere anytime soon. But look, I do think it is kind of one of those, everybody's got a free shot now. The door's open for everybody to compete, especially with the playoff expanding. But yeah, with Saban now moved on, he's retired. I do think there is a sense around the league of, hey, now's our chance. So Kirby and Georgia are always going to be there. I mean, they're the number one team in the country. Preseason, I don't care what poll it is. So everybody's going to have them.
If you say what's the best program, what's the most talented program, it's an easy answer. It's Georgia.
Right. But I do sense they were always going to recruit like this, but there is some urgency in Athens of, hey, we are the top dog, but we got to keep going because everybody else, Missouri, Ole Miss, if Brian Kelly's in Baton Rouge, they're not going to go away. They're always going to be there. Everybody is starting to, the trajectory is going up for all these different programs that were always kind of on the cusp and just couldn't get over the hump. Now you got Missouri and Ole Miss both win 11 games. And heading into 2024, I think both programs are pretty geeked of where they think they can finish this time next year. So, I do think it's fun. Like, it makes our job fun to talk about this and speculate on what's life after, after Saban, after Nick Saban. So it's like, I guess AS would be the time, like 2024 AS after Saban. But yeah, it is
post Saban.
Yeah, post Saban. Real quick on DeBoer, I've said this over and over. I don't think regional ties and stuff matters much anymore with NIL, and just everybody recruits nationally now more than ever. But I've always said, if go find a winner, don't worry about where they're from, what school. If they win, and I mean DeBoer, like I don't have it in front of me. His career record's insane.
Right,
I think it's
and that's the thing. He's won as an NAIA head coach. He's been good as a Power 5 assistant. He's been good as a Group of 5 head coach. He went 25-3 in 2 years at Washington after taking over a team that went 4-8 the year before. So, he's been amazing everywhere he's been. So that's what the people who say, "Oh, he's from South Dakota. How can he possibly win it out?" He wins everywhere. I'm really not worried about him, but I do think him not being Nick Saban is going to be something he's got to deal with. And look, there are no schools that recruit themselves anymore. Every player, whether that's a high school player or somebody in the portal, it is a fist fight to win that guy. And it's different now because you can't just roll out and say we're Alabama or we're Ohio State or we're Georgia and get the person. Like, you've got to fight for him. You got to try. And like, it may be Missouri that gives him the best offer. It may be Tennessee that gives him the best offer. And you've got to figure out how to deal with that.
Yeah. Ole Miss fans have seen Louisville. It's been Louisville that swooped in.
Louisville is just taking the Ole Miss and Florida State model that they've thrived on for the past 3 years and going, we can do this too. And guess who always also wins wherever he's been? Jeff Brom.
Jeff Brom. Yeah. That's I always said when the Alabama job came open, and I'm sure you said it, everybody did. Do you want to be the guy after Saban, or do you want to be the guy after the guy that's after Saban? And as we transition into this conversation about Lane Kiffin, I know he wasn't offered the job. I don't think he was ever truly in the running, but having to kind of, tell everybody pump the brakes, it's all right. I don't see Lane Kiffin looking around as much anymore as he probably did last year, 2 years ago. I know that video leaked. It was a very good Lane Kiffin impression of him talking to Jimmy Sexton. This happens every year. I don't want, but I don't think he needs to anymore because of the playoff expansion. Nick Saban's gone now. Like, the one roadblock that was always in the way is gone. And I mean, what he's built through the portal, he's shown the Grove Collective and the people at Ole Miss, like, we can compete nationally.
Let's look at a future example. Let's say Florida opens next year.
Okay.
5 years ago, we'd be like, oh, he's going to go for that for sure. But if you look at the way Ole Miss's collective has worked and the way they've worked as an administration in this era of football, which job is better right now?
Yeah.
Because you're going to make a ton of money either way. Like, he's already getting paid a ton of money at Ole Miss.
Right. And that's always been my thing too, is like, what's an extra 1 million, 2 million to these guys?
When you're already rich. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Like, would you rather be in a place that you're comfortable, Your family's there. You've built it. Or do you want to go start over?
Right. And Ole Miss might give you that extra million or so. I mean, that's what Florida State did with Norvell. And again, we'll never know if he was actually offered the Alabama job, but to make sure he didn't take it, they made sure they
certainly
took
did the
care of
song
it.
and dance like he was offered it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so, I mean, like, would you leave that now for anything? Like,
that was the thing I talked to people about Saban was when he got there, Mal Moore and this is yours. Do what you have to do to get it done. Get us to that pedestal. We will not stand in your way. You have full autonomy.
Yeah.
And that was my question about the Alabama job. Will Kalen DeBoer have that full autonomy? Maybe he will. Maybe he won't. But like Kiffin has that.
I think Alabama's administration is smart enough to know that's what worked for them before, and they should keep doing that.
Yeah.
But that's what Lane Kiffin has at Ole Miss, which I think people don't quite understand. Like, that's a big deal.
Are you looking at cutting your health insurance premiums by as much as 20 to 30%? Are you aging into Medicare and need help finding a Medicare supplement plan? Call Drew Moak of USA Benefits Group at 601-953-8449. Drew is an Ole Miss grad located in Mississippi and licensed in 7 states. He works with the nation's second largest health insurance brokerage with access to 35 different carriers, and he can help you with any of your health insurance needs. From regular health plans to life insurance to dental and vision and even Medicare, he has it all covered. Now more than ever, it is critical to have a health insurance agent who is local and accessible. So call Drew Moak at 601-953-8449 and get your free quote today. Cooler temperatures are right around the corner, and as I like to say, it's the perfect time to play a round of golf. And if you're looking for a premier golf course in Northwest Mississippi or the Memphis, Tennessee area, go to Cherokee Valley Golf Club in Olive Branch, 15 minutes from the Memphis International Airport. With those cooler temps, you might want to stay warm and comfortable on the course this fall. Go in the clubhouse and check out their new selection of outerwear from Travis Matthew and FootJoy, including FootJoy's new lightweight hoodie. This 18-hole par 72 course includes 4 sets of tees to accommodate all players and has 11 lakes, 52 bunkers, and the wide Zoysia fairways and extra-large Champion Bermuda greens and clean roughs make for an excellent opportunity every single time to post a number. If you need a premier golf experience in the Mid-South, go to Cherokee Valley Golf Club. Call them at 662-893-4444 or check them out olivebranchgolf.com. This podcast also comes to you thanks to Bluff City Advisory Group, Memphis's leading team of finance professionals who can provide advanced assistance with financial planning, pension, and qualified plan support, and business and estate planning strategies as well. Former Ole Miss Rebel and founding partner Ben Still, along with his elite-level customer service team, make it their goal to help you meet the ongoing demands of your financial needs. Learn about this and more at bluffcityadvisory.com.
Keith Carter has basically said, this is yours. If you need something, come talk to me. We'll work it out. So, do you have that guaranteed at another spot if you try to make that jump somewhere else? And as of right now, I mean, I haven't talked to Lane about it, but I feel pretty confident saying he's more than happy with where he's at and knows, hey, I can get whatever I want pretty much here. Yeah. And they pretty much have. I mean, the portal haul that they have put together, the recruiting classes, it's not a hefty 30-man class, but they did really well. They got a lot of the top targets that they wanted. So at this point, you've got a staff put together that you've built it with all of your connections and your tree of coaches. I just, that's kind of my thing when people would ask me, like, do you think Kiffin would go to Bama? Do you think Kiffin would go to Oregon if it opened up, or Florida? Right now, I don't think so.
Right. And I also think what we were just talking about, the autonomy and being able to run it the way you see fit, that's more important than money when the money's close. Of course. And the money's close with all these jobs.
Yeah, I mean, $10 million a year right now is basically like that's like the bar where everybody's at. Yeah, I think that's probably the best way to put it, is that having the autonomy, being comfortable where you are, the family aspect, the angle. I know it's cliche and it's cute, but I think it's true. I cannot remember for the life of me the column that was on ESPN was great, with Lane Kiffin, but he was talking about his daughter and how she played a huge role in him staying. I wouldn't be shocked if Knox moved to Oxford sometime soon. I think having his family closer, being a more mature, he still does all the Twitter stuff. He's never going to stop that. I think that's just who he
But
is. But
that's very separate from the actual person. And
yeah,
you understand that as someone who covers him, but I'm not sure the wider world understands that.
yeah. I mean, every time I talk to a recruit and I ask them about Lane Kiffin, they always, man, he's just chill. Like, he's very low key. And then he turns it on Twitter. Like, he gets on, he does, he did all the trolling with Hugh Freeze. He does, he does the stuff with Juice. But yeah, that's not the person Lane Kiffin is. He's a very reserved, very quiet person. So I don't know. I think he kind of gets mislabeled all the time with all the Joey Freshwater and the loose cannon that Lane Kiffin is, because he's all, that's
Here's
not
the
him.
thing. He's not worked very hard to deny all that, because I think he
No.
understands it also helps.
Yeah.
It gives him a persona that he doesn't always have. Like, he doesn't have to live up to it. Like, because at the end of the day, if you're recruiting, like, once you're recruiting a player, they just want to know if you can coach football. Like, they're not worried about that other stuff. But it does help get you in the door, having that persona and everybody retweeting everything you say or do into those players' timelines.
Yeah, for sure. And that's, I mean, you see it with a lot of the portal guys that are older. They know about Kiffin. They know about him working at Alabama. They have a working knowledge of what he did with Pete Carroll at SC. Some of the younger, the 24, the 25, they don't know that type of Lane Kiffin. But yeah, I mean, some of the older guys that I've talked to, they're like, yeah, man, like he won a national championship calling plays for Nick Saban. He was at SC with Pete Carroll, who coached in the NFL for years. I mean, I think he does a nice job of playing both sides, where he can be goofy and very online on Twitter, but then behind closed doors, in practice, in a game, very, very businesslike.
Right.
So, yeah, I think just kind of the overarching theme of this podcast here was just kind of a let's hit the reset button on, Lane Kiffin's going to have one foot out the door all the time. I don't think that's the case anymore.
Definitely don't think that at all. Like, of all the coaches that we cover, I don't think that. Now, I don't think anything's really a destination job. I actually wrote that column on Wednesday. Like, nothing's a destination job, and no amount of infrastructure that was there before you matters. Like, it was about Kalen DeBoer. It was right after Caleb Downs hit the portal, and then we publish it, and Caden Proctor goes in too, which I was like, well, thanks for proving the point. But it is like, now nothing that happened before you matters. Like, your program is only as good as your last head coach hire. And then nothing's really a destination. Like, we're 2 years removed from the Oklahoma and Notre Dame coaches taking other jobs in college. So there's always the potential that something pops up that your coach is like, that's the job I really want, and I'm leaving. But like, when I look at Lane Kiffin and I look at his other options and I look at what could potentially open down the road, again, who's going to give him the carte blanche he has at Ole Miss plus more money? Like, most Ole Miss has almost got it to where it's cost prohibitive to hire him for most schools.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then the level of control he has only ratchets that up further. Like, a lot of schools aren't willing to give up that level of control.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, that's another thing I tell people that a lot, where, hey, if Lane Kiffin is going to Alabama, if Lane Kiffin's going to Oregon, Florida, Ohio State, you pick it. That's a good sign, because that shows that Lane Kiffin is winning at a very high level, and that makes your job even more enticing for someone else to take it. So,
well, and that's the thing. It's interesting you said that, because that statement was made yesterday by the AD at Washington as he was introducing Jedd Fisch. So Jedd Fisch gets the question.
another great
Basically, the question was more or less, are you going to leave if you're good? And Jedd's trying to answer it as diplomatically as humanly possible. But Troy Dannon, the AD, jumps in and is like, hey, we're trying to make this job aspirational. And he's in the nicest way possible trying to say, we're not going to engage in the kind of loser thinking that says we want someone who's so mediocre that no one's ever going to want to hire them. And this is the thing in college football that you have to understand. Either you're winning so much that everybody wants to hire your coach, or you're about to fire your coach. There's no in between.
Right. Yeah. If you have someone that is comfortable and is not being looked at or vetted, you're probably either really bad or you're, 7-5, 6-6. Like,
yeah. Because
you don't want that.
Even Kirby Smart. How many NFL rumors have we seen about Kirby Smart this offseason? I don't think there's any chance he goes to the NFL, but that hasn't stopped anybody from throwing the rumors out there.
Yeah. I don't see him having that NFL itch whatsoever. All right. Last thing here before we close up. I'll put you on the spot just for fun. Who is the coach at Ole Miss in 2026?
Lane Kiffin.
2027.
Lane Kiffin?
Okay. Yeah. I'm with you.
Then he's the Houston Texans guy. I have no idea. Like, if he's been really good, he might get an NFL job. Who knows? Like, that's the thing. It's impossible to predict.
And if that happens, that's great.
Yeah.
Then you just go find somebody else to replace him. Like, that's part of the game.
I feel like if you can get 4 or 5 good years out of a head coach in this era of college football, like, you can't ask for more than that. You really can't.
No. I mean, it got to a point in college football where it was bizarre to have someone longer than 5 years.
Yeah. Well, and that's where we are now. And especially because it is a complete rebuild every time. And I don't know if it'll always be like this. This could be the kind of way station between the old system and some new system where the players have contracts and, they can't move unless their contract's up but if it's going to be like this, then every new coach hire is a complete rebuild. As we're learning, even in Alabama, which is mind-boggling to think about, but that's exactly where we're at.
All right. That's going to do it here for Short Sessions. Thanks to Andy for joining. Thank you to you, the listener, for tuning in. As always, thanks to the sponsors for bringing it to you. Stay locked in, omspirit.com. We'll have tons of transfer portal. We'll probably have some kind of hot board up for wide receiver coaches. Derek Nix is off to Auburn. All of that and more. Om Spirit, an affiliate of On3. If you haven't already joined, it's only $1, so do it today. Andy, we'll do it again soon, buddy.
Appreciate it, Zach.